Hey there everyone, my name is Poober, and thank you guys so much for joining me for episode 15 of my series. And for the last couple of episodes, you may have noticed we have not been able to fully install my new science factory, and the big reason for that has been our blue underground belts, or the lack thereof in this case. So today, we are not calling it an episode until we finally get these installed, so stay tuned, this might be a long one. So the first thing we want to do is take a look and see exactly what we need to even get the blue underground belts initiated in the first place. So let's open our tech tree, and I do know that it at least requires automation 3, which will allow us to have assembly machine 3s, but we need automation 3 to get logistics 3, and this is ultimately what will unlock the blue underground belts and also the other blue belt tech with it. So between those two research, we have about 450 of red through purple science packs between the two. So that's unfortunate because we don't yet have purple science fully up and running either. The only way I've been getting blue science at this point is by doing it by hand, by manually feeding in the red circuits and the miners like I'm doing now, and then just distributing them amongst the blue science pack assemblers. So that's been a very tedious process, but it is something I am willing to do for the sake of science, so to speak. And I am imagining I'll have to do something similar for the purple science. So the purple science, to get this up and running, we need electric engines, which we have, but we also need electric furnaces, which we don't have yet. So let's see why we don't have these. Electric furnaces take steel, red circuits, and stone brick, which we actually have available. And we have our stone bricks feeding in here, but here's another instance where we don't have access to the supplies because we don't have our blue underground belts that feed into the section over here. A couple of you have said in the comments, like, why don't I get rid of a couple of our assemblers that take up the space of where we could possibly put some belts? And I may just do that, but for now, I'm just going to kind of eat up a little bit of everything and manually at least feed it that way so that we have it started. And then I could decide what to do and where to move some stuff in the very near future. So here's our bricks. We'll go ahead and feed them. Just to these 3, I think we'll do fine. But we also need to feed it some of our red circuits and some steel. Thankfully, I have plenty of that on hand. And the last thing it needs are the red circuits themselves. So you can see these 3 assemblers are now finally working. So it should pop out some of the furnaces that will then feed onto this belt line. And unfortunately, we're still going to run into some problems where we'll have to still manually feed into the purple science pack assemblers themselves. So basically, I have a long, tedious process ahead of me. So I'm going to go ahead and make a cut right now, so the next time you see me, this will be all done. Well, look guys, I don't have the research fully done yet like I thought I was going to by this cut, but I did figure out a way to automate the furnace production with these 3 furnaces here. So what I did was I changed out one of these belts over here so that we wouldn't have to go quite the blue underground belt length distance. So I shortened that up and was able to fit in a red underground belt here by doing it this way. So now these assemblers will get fed the steel, stone brick, and the red circuits that it needs. And then they're distributed onto the belt again here. This one, though, distributes it to this red underground belt. Then it joins up here, and then a couple of these finally get automated for the purple science. I'm still having to manually feed the blue science a little bit for now, but I am building up an okay steady supply of blue and purple science packs for now. You can see I've already got 75 blue packs saved up after about 5 minutes of doing this, and then 38 for the purple. But I'm going to go ahead and just grab up the extra that I have in these belts here like I'm doing now. We've got still a couple more we can grab. And then we'll head back up to the purple pack area where I've got a couple of these stockpiled from this belt being unfinished. And that gives us another 72 for the purple and 46 for the blue. So I'm just going to add these to my box and let these build up a little bit more, and then I'll finally start on some research, and then I'll see you guys in just another brief cut from now. So here's another update. We are now over halfway for the needed blue and purple science packs. Again, we need 450 and we have just over 300 for each of these. And of course, our red and green science packs are automated back at our starter base all the way over here. So what I plan on doing is once we get 450 of the blue and purple, is I will drop it back off over here, or I have the option of bringing the 450 red and green science packs over to our labs over here, where we have a little bit more labs in this area, which might increase our lab research speed by using this section over here. So either option is up for grabs at this point, but in the meantime, while I'm finishing letting our blue and purple science packs build up, I do want to get started on something we'll also need eventually, and that is our blue circuits, which I don't have any of at this point, of course, since we don't have a blue circuit factory. So I think we'll go ahead and put one down just below our red circuit factory here. So the design I'm going to be using for this is nothing fancy. I didn't come up with it on my own. It is made by ZBosch, and you can find it on Factorio prints, which is exactly where I found this one. But I will also link it down below, and again, all credit goes to him for the design of this blueprint. I don't even know how it turns out in terms of ratios. I don't even think the designer mentioned it in the description, but I thought it looked fairly nice and simple, so I think we'll just test it out for now. What I want to do, I think, is do 2 tiles worth of this, partly for symmetry purposes and also partly because I want to make sure we have enough blue circuit production to kind of get us started. So I'm just going to line it up by going into map mode. And I think I want to line it up with this furthest belt in terms of how far down it is. That way it's very symmetrical and lines up with everything really well. And then I want it in the middle of kind of the red circuits in this section. So right about there looks good, and then we'll add it another one over here. And I'm just eyeballing it. If I wanted to be particularly anal, I could measure it out, but I don't see the point of doing that at this point in the game. So we're going to do hopefully just one more cut here. So by the time I see you guys again, we'll have all 450 of our science packs, and we'll have this installed as well. Well, we are back, and that means I have at least 450 of every science pack from red through purple. And that's in this box here, and I have decided to end up feeding it into these labs here just because I have 20 over here, whereas over at our starter base we only have just 8 of these, so it would take longer if I were to do the research over here. And each lab does have to have every science pack required for the research, so I can't split it up. So at this point, I'm going to grab a couple stacks of everything for these science packs, and I'm going to feed it into a box, which will then supply it through this belt line that goes underneath the labs here, and then it will kind of leapfrog its way from lab to lab to lab to lab to the very end. So let's grab a box, and we'll put 3 down, and we'll put in 3 inserters. And I'm just now realizing that if we do it this way, it will cause a problem with what side of the belt each product gets on. So scratch this idea. Let's instead put something further up. What we could do is just add it in where it would fall into the belt line naturally. For instance, is it this belt line? No, it must be, oh, this belt line here. This one is for the red and green, I believe. I'm not 100% sure without actually seeing the science packs on the belt itself. Oh well, we'll just go ahead and put something in right here, delete up the belt line, and put in something just temporary, just to feed in this 450 packs that I have. So we can do something like this for red and green, where we have one box here, one box there. This will be red, this will be green, and then this will be blue and purple. There we go. I don't think I could have made that any more complicated if I had to. This one will be blue, this one will be purple, and then let's grab the rest of everything in that box. We'll finish distributing it to the boxes here. And last but not least is the green. So that should be covered. That's going to be a little more than 450 packs for some of them between these boxes, but that's okay that we have a little extra. Now all we have to do is do some research at this point. So we'll start with the automation 3, of course, and then once this is done, we'll go ahead and do the logistics 3. And hopefully it doesn't take too long. I'm going to be watching this timer pretty closely just to see that it's working, and it's not for now. Why is it not work? Oh, duh. So let's get rid of those inserters and add in the belt there. And now it should be distributing properly. Why is it not working? Let's eat up a couple of those. We'll put them back into the boxes themselves. And now it's finally beginning to work. There we go. So a couple hiccups along the way, but we finally have automation 3 getting researched. So I'm going to let this do its thing. Going to fix this a little bit so the rest of the labs will get to where it needs to go. And in the meantime, I'm also going to install the other blue circuit factory. I've got this one all ready to go apart from the sulfuric acid. So I'm just going to put this in as well while we're waiting for this to get researched. Well, there's one research done. Let's go ahead and start the other. And Logistics 3 just finished. Good timing, because I am just about wrapping up the blue circuit build. So let's take a look, and yes, we for sure can make the underground belts now. That will make life so much easier in this game. So let's not waste any time. So underground belts, the blue ones, take 80 iron gear wheels, 2 fast underground belts, and then 40 lubricant. I'm just going to put something temporary down, I think. I'll I'll even put it right here, just right off of the Science Factory. We'll do... Actually, let's put it over here where we have a little bit more room. We'll make that for our iron gear wheels. And I'm going to do something horrendous and just add it off of our iron plate here. There we go, iron gear wheels. And we can actually make a couple of these maybe, just to speed up the process, because these will be very intensive with how many products are needed to go into just even one underground belt. Let's move this down by one though. There we go. That way we can fit in an inserter. There we have it. We'll have this be the output line. And it needs lube, and then it needs the red underground belts, which take iron gear wheels, and the yellow undergrounds. Yellow undergrounds take iron plate, which we can have, again, just kind of continue along this line here. I'm fine with that. We'll add an extra length for the belt here so we can switch out where that inserter goes. So this takes transport belts in order to make the yellow underground. So we'll do that. Here we go. I'm just making this up as I go. We need another underground like that. And there we have it for our transport belts. And we'll have this, I'd say, direct feed into another assembler for the yellow undergrounds. Let's move this belt though, or that inserter rather. There we go. And looks like we have to move it down by one actually. Here we are. And we can move this inserter back to where it was originally. Let's give this stuff some power. Let's hook it up into a big electric pole right here. Let's extend that down. Okay, so what is this again? This is underground. So it's getting the transport belts now. It just needs the iron plate, which it will pick up from here. There we have it. More power. And what else are we missing? We have to extend this line down, of course. And we need the red underground belts now, which we will feed right here. I think that will be fine, because we'll have our inserter right there. And then we need it to pick up the iron gear wheels. Like so. And then we can have these direct feed into finally one last assembler right here. This will be the assembler for the actual blue underground belts machine itself. And we need an output box, which we'll put... let's do it right there. I know we'll have to add more power, but I want it front and center, easy for me to see, can't miss it type of thing. So let's be sure though that we cap it off. But looking at how many blue underground belts we're going to need, I'm going to do 2 stacks for now. Let's lastly put in the recipe, and oh, I forgot it still needs the lubricant, which I don't have on me, although I have plenty of sulfuric acid. So I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit. And what I mean by that is just pick it up from where we have it being produced, which is all the way up here if I can access it. There we go. And we'll just do a couple barrels. And this is the machine that does make the lubricant itself. I suppose I could substitute this and just do some underground pipes, but I might do that in some future episodes, but for now I'm okay with keeping it barreled because that will be what comes in handy once we have bots, and the bots will eventually carry the barrels to other locations around the base. I do have some lubricant unbarreling over here though, so I'm going to end up just connecting the pipes from this section over here all the way to this assembler. I know I don't have quite an automated way of supplying the lubricant at this point, which is fine by me for now, as long as we have even just a primitive setup for getting this going. And then once we have it fully automated, that's when I can go ahead and rip this stuff up and make it look nice again. One last thing is we have to give our unbarreler machine the barrels. And let's give it a box actually, so I don't have to continually come back here. We can put it right there and just change out this underground belt. Again, this is most likely just temporary stuff for now. But there we go. Let's grab another handful of the lubricant barrels so while we're still in the area. And why not? Let's just grab some sulfuric acid ones as well. Why is this not producing more though? Huh. Because I'm not producing enough heavy oil, it looks like. And I wonder why. It's just barreling very slowly, so I'm making the products very slowly, it looks like. I'll have to play with that a little bit later. But that is not the big priority right now. The big priority is, do we have the blue underground belts getting made? Let's take a look. No. Why? Is this box full? Let's go over there and check it out. Oh. I forgot to extend the iron gear wheels to this machine. So let's do that, and then I think it'll work. And it does. Let's extend one more line here for the iron gear wheels. So we've got that, but we still don't have the lubricant. It's connected. Oh, here's why, because I broke the connection there. Okay, still want this to be an underground. But I need another underground like that. There we go. And do I have a pump on me? No, I could easily make one though by just picking up one of these engines. And then that way we can make sure that the pipes do a good throughput. And we'll just put that right there for now. We can get rid of it later. And give it power. That way it's for sure going to be pumping in this direction and we're not going to have any backflow. But we finally have express underground belts, aka the blue underground belts that I've been waiting for. So the first thing I'm going to be replacing, or adding rather, is this blue underground belt section here, and this will enable the minor drills and the red circuits to get further down the blue science line that I have. And it's working! I'm so excited! You can see everything just begin to turn on by itself, which is so awesome to see. And I have just enough underground belts to do one more connection for now, and I think I saw an area over here that I wanted to do it. I've got to be very choosy because I don't have many of these built right now. Let's go ahead and actually rip this up and fix it to how it was prior to me making the fix, because I don't want to forget about it. There we go, and then I can fix up this line. That's how I had it originally. So perfect. That's fixed. So with that said, the blue underground belts will slowly build up over time. It's not going to be the most efficient production of these, but I can be patient, as you guys are very well aware of by now. I've done a very primitive job of even getting to this point with the blue science and the purple science for that matter. But our blue underground belts will now make life a ton easier, and it will be a huge quality of life improvement. So with that said, I'm going to finish connecting up the products we need for the blue circuits, but I think we'll leave turning these fully on until next episode, so I hope you'll join me then for episode 16.